Hello, everyone. Todd Dulaney, the former professional baseball player turned gospel powerhouse, a man whose songs like Your Great Name and Anthem have filled churches and arenas across the world with passionate worship, has now become the center of heartbreaking headlines as news emerges about his personal life and health that has left fans shaken and supporters deeply concerned. Because for years, people looked at Todd and his wife Kenyatta as the shining example of faith, love, and family within the gospel community. A couple that stood hand in hand not only in marriage but also in ministry, raising their children under the banner of faith while pouring out music that inspired countless souls. Yet now the news is spreading that Todd has been officially confirmed to be facing a season of tremendous hardship, one that has caused whispers, rumors, and prayers to spread like wildfire through social media and within church pews. And the sadness isn't only because of what Todd is going through, but also because of what it reveals about the fragility of even the strongest seeming vessels of faith. For behind every melody and every stage performance there is still a man carrying burdens, and his wife carrying them with him. And as word broke that Todd may be confronting health struggles mixed with strains in his marriage, supporters began revisiting the many times he spoke publicly about how much he leaned on his wife as his rock and his anchor, and how the weight of ministry often tested them both. Because while his music career looked like constant triumph to outsiders, the reality was that maintaining family, faith, and fame simultaneously was always a balancing act. And now that balance seems to be under threat. Witnesses close to the family have quietly shared that Todd's demanding schedule, the toll of traveling for concerts, recording, and pastoring worshipers across the globe left little space for his own rest and recovery. And that exhaustion may have been a doorway to physical and emotional struggles, which in turn placed weight on his marriage. Yet through it all, both Todd and Kenyatta are said to be fighting together, reminding people that their love story wasn't built on perfection, but on perseverance. Still, fans were heartbroken when the confirmation came that Todd is indeed stepping back from many of his commitments, suggesting that the battle he faces is no small matter. And while some speculate about the exact nature of the hardship, whether it is health, marriage, or both, what is certain is that Todd himself recently admitted that he can no longer carry the load alone, urging his followers to pray not just for him, but for his family, confessing in one emotional live stream that he felt like he had poured so much into others that he neglected himself, and that even his wife, though supportive, could not carry his burden entirely. And those words, raw and vulnerable, shook his audience because they came not from a star on stage but from a weary man in need of help, and it opened up broader conversations within the church and gospel industry about how much is demanded of artists, how their humanity often gets hidden behind the music, and how the pressure to always be on fire spiritually can burn them out in silence, leaving their spouses to shoulder hidden pain. And now, as Todd's confession and confirmation spreads, thousands are rallying around them with prayer chains, messages of encouragement, and testimonies of how his music carried them through dark times, hoping that those same prayers now carry him and Kenyatta through theirs. Because this is more than gossip. It is a sobering reminder that even those who give us our worship soundtracks are still vulnerable human beings. And whether Todd's struggle proves to be a long illness, a season of mental exhaustion, or the trials of marriage under pressure, one thing remains clear. His journey has always been marked by faith, and his wife has always been by his side. And while this sad news confirms the presence of real challenges, it also presents an opportunity for the body of Christ to surround them not with judgment, but with love. Because if Todd taught us anything through his music, it is that God's name is still great in every circumstance. And so, as he faces this season, fans can only hope and pray that the man who helped others worship their way through pain will now find the strength, grace, and healing to endure his own storm, reminding us all that true faith is not proven in the absence of trials, but in the endurance of them. And in this heartbreaking season for Todd Dulaney and his wife, that truth is being lived out in real time before the watching world. Thanks for watching.